So today is another FAQ, and today's question was about Lewis. I'm in business, but I'm not seeing the money land in my bank account. So I see this quite a lot, by the way, where I've even guided people previously, clients that I've started with, because I'm not in the game of just taking a monthly coaching fee, by the way. I'm in the game of letting people, it's about their life, right? Business is life. So I've mentioned to clients before, look, if we can't make this business make sense and you're not seeing more money, you're putting more hours in, and you're working your weekends and stuff, I do advocate you've got to put a lot of hard work in. But if the ladder is up the wrong wall, then I will be the first one to say, man, you're on a sinking ship here. Go and get a high paid job. Yeah, or close this business down. It's not going in the right direction. And people go, oh, Lewis, yes, you can make big money and everything. No, look, we've got to be realistic, right? If this business is causing you a lot of stress, you're not getting what you went into business for in the first place, you're not paying yourself the money, you're having to put money in, then it's time to really call it. Okay, I will be the first person. I might be a business mentor, or business coach, but first things first, I'm a life mentor. Yeah, I'm not going to say life coach, but life mentor. This is about you being an entrepreneur mentor. Let's go. I'm an entrepreneur mentor. And that can sometimes mean knowing when to call it. Yeah. So when do you know when to call it? Well, first of all, you've got to understand that there is no crystal ball. But yes, there is a crystal ball. There is a crystal ball, and it's called knowing your fucking numbers. You see, the language of business is numbers, right? And that's great, because now you can talk to any business around the world, because every business has numbers, right? And everybody can start to grasp numbers. The reason why you're not seeing the money in your bank account is because you don't know the numbers that equate to the bank balance, right? Not to the bank balance, to paying you dividend as a business owner, right? Oh, but my financial advisor, or not even financial advisor, by the way, most people just go to their accountant for finance advice. Okay, great. I love accountants, by the way. Work with a lot of accountants, but there are good accountants and bad accountants. Okay. If the accountant is just there to take money from you, then that's a bad accountant, right? They should be able to point you to the financial advisor, point you to the right business coach, the right mentor. Accountants that tend to just do a generic bit of everything, I've got a bit of a problem with, because they're not financial advisors. Yeah. I mean, look at some of the entrepreneurs that are out there. They're making a lot more money than entrepreneurs, and there's entrepreneur accountants, by the way. But having the wrong advice from your accountant just because they want to cling on to you as a client is not the right thing, and it never is. And that's the same for me and any of the businesses. If we feel like it's not right for the client and it's not the right thing, we will advise them to go and find somebody else, right? Or to stop what they're doing and really think about what they're in this business for in the first place. So what do I mean about having that crystal ball, knowing your numbers? I'm talking about understanding cash flow forecasting, the budgeting for your business. Does it sound... Look, I hold my hands up here. When I rewind to my early days in business, when I first started the one business, I was just like, well, that's my accountant. My accountant needs to sort that out, surely. And you go to the accountant, and first of all, they're good at looking in the rearview mirror, yeah, to make sure that you're compliant, making sure that you've got everything in place for the for the taxes, making sure everything's okay. They're not there for your financial future success. Okay, you can speak to financial advisors. I can recommend you financial advisors. If you want one, DM me and I'll put you in touch with the right ones. Yeah. So what's the variable here? Because some financial advisors, let me tell you now, they're just going to probably say, put it all in your pensions. Okay, great. Now, I rocked up to my, and this is to just give you an example, because we all have big goals, right? We all have big goals in business. What do we go to business for in the first place? My clients were saying to me, Lewis, when are you going to start doing your goals? Well, okay. So I've got a Lamborghini, right? And I refer to it to my financial advisor as their worst nightmare. It's funny. I go to my accountant and they say, oh, Lewis, how's the car going? I'm like, what, you mean your worst nightmare? And the financial advisor's worst nightmare. What does that mean? Because they want me to go and put it straight into pensions. They want me to be like, let's invest it here and do this. Great. But remember what you went into business for in the first place. And my argument always is, you can make more money, but you can't make more time. Okay. Hence the work-life balance argument that I keep having. Love what you do. Love what you do. Bring your kids to work. Show them. Yeah. Because it's not about work-life balance sometimes. It's about like um, getting shit done and sitting in front of Netflix. Yeah. It's not life balance sitting in front of Netflix while the kids just watch you on your iPhone. Right? You might as well be doing some stuff that contributes towards the future and do it with the family. Yeah. Get involved. So, but back to, let's just rewind a bit then. So what are we saying here? We need to know the things that really contribute to what you want, right? The reason I went about the financial advisor's worst nightmare stuff is because that's their goal, not my goal. Okay. For me to invest money with them and put it into pensions and stuff that I'll see, into my 60s and 70s, you're never going to get life back. You're never going to get life back. So always think about, there's no right or wrong here, by the way. They do a very good job. Some financial advisors do very, very good jobs, and so do the accountants. What is right or wrong is making sure that you do it that's right by you and your values. Okay? So why aren't you seeing this number? Why isn't your bank balance really changing? Well, first things first, have you got the right tax planning? Yeah. Let your financial advisor know. Let your accountant know. Make sure your accountant has a great tax director, one that you can get on with and that understands you. Yeah. Because there's two things certain in life, it's death and taxes, right? You got to be efficient with what you do. Now, if you think about what I'm doing here, I'm working backwards. Bank balance, getting taxed, then what? Where does that money come from? So let's work up the tree. Yeah, let's work. If the foundation is seeing more money in your bank, getting taxed is got to be something that you need to get around your boardroom table. So get a great tax advisor, get a great financial planner that is aligned to your goals. What next? Now you've got to make money in the business, right? Because if there's no money in the business, it can't pay you. How do you get paid? In dividends, okay? Or in a salary. What's the best option? Depends on the business and where you are, okay? So if you think about it, either way, the business needs to make money, right? That's net profit. The net profit, what's in the bank at the end of it, okay? And then there's obviously all the business taxes and everything like that, hence why you need to get a great accountant and a great tax director. But you need to make profit. What makes that net profit? That net profit comes from the other end of the tree. Okay, so let's go to the far top of where this money comes in. Revenue. We speak a lot in this podcast about marketing, sales. We've now generated that. Operations. The invoice goes out. Money starts to come in. Revenue. When that revenue is there, we then need to spend and make, and all the operating costs need to come out. The thing that took operating costs is, what did it cost you? Yeah. What did you actually have to do to provide that service or product without the monthly expenses? So these are the things like, if you, for example, sold lemonade, okay, well, how many lemons did you have to buy to squeeze and then sell that lemonade? So in its purest form, if you can think about it, is the price, the money that you made from selling the lemons, okay? How much did it cost you for the lemons? That there is going to be your cost of goods, okay? That is your cost of goods that you needed to then make that, right? Or cost of sale. Then once we've got rid of that cost, we're going to go down to you got your gross profit, okay? So you've took away what it cost you to actually make that product or to provide that service, and now you've got your gross profit, okay? Then you're going to take away all the monthly expenses. So all the bills, everything that is going to cost the water, the gas, the rent, the people that are involved, and they get paid regardless. So sometimes people put people into the cost of good or the cost of sale. But what we're doing here is we're making sure that there's an argument to say, well, look, whether you sold anything or not, whether you sold any lemonade, because if you're not selling lemonade, you don't need more lemons, right? But there's still people hanging around ready to squeeze them. Okay? So you can't just lay people off. It's always going to be a monthly expense. So these are your overheads, right? These are the operational costs that happen from an overhead perspective. Once that's gone down and you've removed all those costs, that's going to lead to your net profit. And that net profit is going to be the thing that really determines whether you can pay yourself or not. Now, some people, some business owners put their money into that salary within the overhead costs, or some people will take it away. And there's different sort of tax implications that happen here as well. There's the national insurance, there's the the pensions that all come into place. But business owners then can take dividends from it. Why have I just gone through all that? Yeah, I'm not here to talk about as an accountant. And the accountants that are listening to this right now go, oh well, actually, there's going to be this and this. Great, we have accountants on the show. They're on mentalbusiness.com as well. Go learn from them. Fantastic. You need to have that language of business. We have them on the show all the time. What I'm teaching you is what do you need to know from an entrepreneurial business owner perspective. And let me tell you, 95% of business owners don't get that P&L that we've just been through. So how are they going to learn about why they pay themselves? Now, you don't need to be an accountant for it. What you do need to know is how you get money from that. So understanding that. There's books you can read on it. You can speak to your accountant and ask more questions about it. But you need to know and understand those different elements. Now, here comes the next part of it. That might be very basic to a lot of people. And it would be very, very basic to a lot of accountants. But here's what accountants don't do right as well. They look at the past, but don't look at the future. They don't forecast for the future. They don't know exactly where you're going to be.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the show so far and you're getting a lot of value from it. Look, we do this for free because it's our vision to help more businesses and their teams scale and actually achieve what they went into business and their career for. So these raw boardroom style conversations deliver the real data on what works and what doesn't, saving you time, money, and most of all, making sure that you don't miss on these opportunities that could really help you scale. Sharing it with people you know really, really supports us on these podcast platforms so we can achieve our vision. So if you have a like-minded friend, colleague, or business owner that could get value from this, thank you for sharing it with them. You know who you are, and greatest respect for everybody that's doing that so far. And if you haven't, then please support us. Let's get back to the show.
Now, as a business owner entrepreneur running 10 businesses, I stay up at night and can't sleep if I don't know where the business is going to be based on what sales are coming in, what are the margins going to be like, where are we going to be, have I got the cash flow in the company? So what I need to see is that crystal ball. I need to see a forecast. Where are we in 30 days? Sales, invoicing, the cash flow into the bank, what's going out. I need to see all these things. Where are we in 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days? And when I see that, it allows me to sleep more at night because I understand the language of business. And this is what you guys need to get into. Understand the margins, understand the cash flow, understand the budgeting. So the budgeting is, what are you budgeting for the year? Where are your expenses going? What are you going to be spending money on? You need to understand all these different levels so that you can sleep easy at night. Yeah, because when you do, you can also plan how much you're going to spend to grow your business next year, and also how much you're going to plan to pay yourself. Make sense? So where do we begin? You start with just an Excel sheet, right? You start with an Excel sheet. You go and speak to your accountant and say, look, I want to have a bigger, deeper grasp on the future of my business. If you want help with this sort of stuff, you can get a financial controller in your business. Great. If you can't afford a financial controller and you're not there yet, you can get a fractional CFO, a fractional financial controller, a fractional finance director. Yeah, the accountants are there for the back, for the past. The bookkeepers are there for the present to start putting it all away and locking it all in and making sure that the accountants are happy. But the financial controllers are there for the future. The finance directors are there for the future. What fractional means is you pay them a fractional of the cost for the fraction of their time. And there's some very good people out there. Again, if you want some contacts on this, they are on mentalbusiness.com to teach you this stuff already. And just DM me on LinkedIn or Instagram and I can give you some contacts as well. But the main reason is, guys, is that there's a reason why you are not getting paid what you want from your business. And that's because you need to understand the numbers of your business better so that you can make decisions. Let's go back from the bottom then. More money in your bank, more net profit, with the taxes obviously involved between that gap as well. So better financial planning, right? More net profit, more gross profit, more revenue. Where does revenue come from? Well, it comes from leading indicators. What sort of leading indicators? What sort of lead indicators are in your marketing? Yeah. Because if the revenue is coming from the sales, then the sales need to come from somewhere. And the sales could come from, okay, how good are your salespeople? What have you sort to train them in? What are your salespeople? So this is what I would do. Go into my business, speak to the sales manager, sales director. I need to see more clarity on the pipeline of what's coming up in the next 30, 60, 90 days. Give me the pipeline. Oh, well, Lewis, figure it out. That's why you're the sales manager, the sales director. And if you can't figure it out, I'm here to help you figure it out. Or there's mentors on mentorbusiness.com that can teach you. Okay. So what next? Now we've got the sales and we've started to see them forecasting. Well, how do we know they're going to drop in? Well, do we know our conversion rates? Do we know the value conversion rate? Do we know the conversion rate on quantity? Do we know the conversion rate on the number of products ordered? Do we know the average sales of stuff like that? We can start to look at all sorts of different metrics, but every business is different. I'd love to sit down with every one of you guys and figure this out, but this is what we do, right? This is why we'd look at it and make sure that you've got the right structure so that you can start to plan ahead for your businesses. Now you've got the sales stuff. We need to know where these leads are coming from. So if we know there's leads, one question that a lot of people don't ask when they ever get an inquiry, when do you need it for? Oh, wow, what a groundbreaking question to ask. Because it's now good having a fucking CRM and not putting information into it that doesn't give us any intel. Okay? When do you need it for? What does that actually mean in the language of business? You are predicting, based on your conversion rate, when you will be able to sell this product and invoice this product. What does that do? It causes you to know the future cash flow of your business so you can sleep at night and that you know how much money that you can start to pay yourself and the variables that you can change. Isn't this exciting? Just think at how many levers right now have we mentioned just in this podcast alone of how you can start to influence that net profit and how much you pay yourself. Incredible, right? Just changing those levers by a small percentage will have a massive compounding effect on the bottom line of your business and how much you start to pay yourself. Okay. This is why it's important to invest in the right people, the right boardroom table, so that they can take control of all these different levers so that you can make more money. Let's talk about marketing. How many different options are there for marketing? Social media, podcasts. There's all the different blogging you can do, SEO, paid ads, and that breaks into Google ads, Meta ads, LinkedIn ads. Where do we stop? There's exhibitions that we can do. And then we can look at all the variables of them. If we go to an exhibition, what's the key number that we need to get from the exhibition? Is it the amount of conversations we're having? Is it the amount of meetings we're having? Is it the amount of business cards that we collect? Is it the amount of questionnaires we get filled in? Is it the amount of appointments we book in for on Calendly? There's so much we can do, right? All these variables, but what we need to do is hone down what is the language for your business. Yeah, does that make sense? So look, we've been over a lot of content here, but I just wanted to let you guys know that winging it and thinking that there's just some money in and you can treat it like your own personal fucking bank account is not going to be a scalable approach. As soon as you start going over 100K revenue, you're going to start hitting some big challenges. And that's why you need to have the right people in the right seats in your business and in your life to make sure that you generate wealth from your business. And that's just one business. What happens when you start your second, your third, your 10th, your 20th, and they all start to scale? Just think about that for a moment and make sure that your ladder is up the right wall with the right plan of how you're going to make money rather than just let things happen to you. You need to make things happen for a reason.